Joining me now here on the Hill, Congressman Rich McCormick, Republican from the state of Georgia, a veteran who first, by the way, endorsed Ron DeSantis during the Republican primary. Congressman, thanks for being with us here on the Hill. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Of course. So you met with Pete Hegseth today.
I did.
As I understand it. What did he say to you? What did you say to him? What's your sense of where things stand right now?
Sir, first he presented to the entire RSC committee, which is the biggest group of Republicans, over 170 strong. We had 3 senators in attendance also. And it was basically a universal message. This is what I stand for. This is what I mean when I have a vision for the military. And then he addressed the allegations. He said specifically he didn't want to address it at first because he didn't want to give it any legs. But now that it's been out there, he said, I dare them, come forward. Let's see it. Let's see what you have, because it's all anonymous sources with no verification whatsoever. He says it's a smear campaign. He says the president still backs him. Senators I talked to, including Mark Wayne, said he talked to President Trump that day and said that the president still has his full backing.
Was there any pushback among Republicans in that room?
Not one bit.
Not a one.
Not one. As a matter of fact, I think he made a great case for why he's a serious candidate, not just somebody who's a celebrity, but actually somebody who's put a lot of thought process into the lethality of this military organization we have, the best in the world.
Not to disrespect the House at all, but you know how the process works, Congressman. It's the Senate that confirms. So the fact that he was even speaking to a room of members of the House who won't determine if he's the next Pentagon secretary, to lead the Pentagon or not, sort of shows that he's got some convincing to do, does he not?
Well, I didn't hear of one senator that had reservations, and I haven't heard of one in the Republican side that has reservations so far. And apparently he's made his rounds. And I don't know, I hear all kinds of rumors, and I've heard other people's names floated out there, but really when it came down to it, wasn't substantiated at all. As a matter of fact, I was really impressed. I came in there skeptical. I knew what he'd done in the Army, and I know what his mission was. And I thought, well, is this guy really qualified for that overview? He really impressed me as somebody who was mature, looking at this, what he could and what he doesn't know about, and who he'd hired in order to help him with the job. That's really a huge job of almost $1 trillion budget.
So I mentioned you supported Ron DeSantis in the primary, the Florida governor.
I did.
Ron DeSantis, you just told me you're hearing all sorts of rumors. What are you hearing on Ron DeSantis?
I heard Ron DeSantis was also heard Wesley Hunt's name floated out there. Okay. But really,
a Republican from Texas.
Yes.
Who is also a veteran.
Yes. He was an Apache helicopter pilot. Almost as good as a Marine Corps pilot. But I really thought that had legs until I talked to the nominee and talk to other senators and realize that's really not the way it's working.
So you don't think the DeSantis stuff is serious?
I don't think it's real. I don't.
You don't think it's real?
No, not after listening to what the presentation was. If it's legitimate, and I always take a person for their word, and apparently these people are in daily contact with the president, both the senators and the nominee, and it sounded very positive, actually.
But you know how Donald Trump works. When the name starts to get floated out there, what about them? It normally doesn't end well for that individual. So why do you think it's even gotten to this point that all of a sudden maybe we're talking about Ron DeSantis?
Well, because
I know about the allegations, but you know what I'm getting at here. Once it starts rolling that way for Trump, you know how it normally ends.
Rumors always are out there. And especially, you look what happened to Kavanaugh, you look what happened to Clarence Thomas, you look at other nominees that have had a hard time. Some don't make it through the process, some do. I don't think there's anything right now that's substantiated. I've looked into it now. At first I was like, oh boy, here we go. Once I actually heard him talk about it and very convincingly say, hey, there is nothing out there. My Fox colleagues don't have anything to say. Nobody's come forward and say, oh yeah, I heard these rumors. No, that's not out there. All we know is anonymous accusations with no substantiations, no NDA, no nothing.
You supported DeSantis in the primary, as I mentioned, and his name is floating out there. Did Trump get it wrong by not going with DeSantis first? As someone who you obviously felt he could be the next commander-in-chief.
Well, first of all, I think Ron DeSantis is still the governor.
He
has a job to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should be disruptive in the way we approach this. I think Hegseth would make a great secretary. I wasn't convinced of that until I talked to him in person. I literally talked to him today after our meeting, the group meeting, and said, hey, what about this proposed cuts that Elon Musk is talking about?
So what about that? Because now you've got Bernie Sanders saying basically the same thing, or close to the same thing, at least to the Pentagon as Elon Musk. You're a veteran. Slash the Pentagon? Or slash a decent portion of the budget? Are you there?
No, I'm not there, anywhere near there. But what I do think we could do is get rid of the duplicity, the contracting errors that we do, the R&D errors that we do, the waste that we do, the 44 4 stars that we have out there. We had 9 during World War II. We have 44 now. What is the disconnect? Why do we need to have such a top-heavy military? Now, you're not going to make a huge, substantial savings, but we have a lot of waste in the way that we approach the military contracting system. And if we're going to be the most lethal force out there, and China's closing the gap, don't think because of the numbers that are floated out there that we're actually not in parity. We are in parity right now. China, if you look at their entire budget that they're spending on military development, not just the military, but the paramilitary stuff, they're equally spending with us, and they are really getting good at what they do with their supersonic missiles, their technologies, their space, all the things they're doing to basically bring them up to speed on fighting a war against us in real time.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.